What's the most unique project you've ever worked on?
There have been a couple of projects that I've been involved in that have stood sort of above the rest in terms of being my favorites. I cut 10 albums for the Rolling Stones, their first 10 albums for ABCO Records, and that basically involved everything that they came out with up to, but not including, Sticky Fingers. The project came to me after a number of other cutting engineers had not succeeded in transferring the magic of the master tape to vinyl. And either there was distortion involved or it wasn't crisp enough. There were sonic anomalies that were no good, and ABCO Records finally came to me on the recommendation of Bob Ludwig, and I was very proud to be involved with cutting 12 by 5, Beggar's Banquet, Hot Rocks, all of those terrific, amazing landmark records that the Rolling Stones were involved in early in their career. That was fun. Also, sort of on the same line of just being in awe of the program material, was that I cut Brian Wilson's Smile project. Now, Smile was an album that Brian had started with the Beach Boys in 1966, and it had been aborted halfway through because of various weirdnesses in the recording process and the people who were involved. But books have been written about that, and I don't need to get into that right now. But basically, Brian's band put together a project which recreated Smile, the mystical, magical magnum opus of the Beach Boys. And this was supposed to be their biggest record ever, and it never came out in its original form until Brian's band put it together. Mark Linnett, the producer of the project, came to me, and I was able to do this in a absolutely pure analog cutting chain. Very different from the way most records are cut, and it was because of the availability of certain kinds of equipment at the mastering studio that I was at the time that I was able to do this work. The vinyl recording blows the CD away in a combination of ingredients. There's not just one thing. Analog recordings and playback have a different characteristic from digital recordings. And this was cut using a completely analog chain of equipment. It was done sort of in the way that it would have been done in 1966, because that was pre-digital. So although the tracks were cut using a digital recording process, the mastering was done full analog, and so it had a different character to the sound. There was a warmth to it. Everything worked right. You know, all the ducks fell in line, if you will, and it just sounds lovely. As far as the most unusual project that I've ever done, there have been a bunch of projects with music that was highly unusual in that it didn't fit into any category. Japanese rap music, for example, for me, was sort of like that, because I didn't understand any of the lyrics without, you know, a translator, except for a couple of expletives that got thrown in the middle of the songs. But that was kind of fun, you know. It's how American hip-hop music has come to Japan and has been adapted and modified by their regional and sociological tastes and all that, and then brought back to America. You know, so that was kind of great. Each project is unusual. There's nothing that's cookie cutter about anything that I do. Each project is different. It's different music being performed by different artists on different instruments in different places, and looking to get done such that it respects the music. And so, you know, that's pretty much it. You know, it's what keeps things from getting boring, is that there is no unusual music that is so unusual that it's beyond the pale. The most unique project I ever did is the next one that comes up. They're all different, and although I may have enjoyed some unusual moments with all kinds of, it's all kinds of music. I don't usually live in the classical world, but I've done a lot of classical mastering, and it's so different from doing dance music or rock and roll or hip hop. So, in that respect, it's unusual, but to a lot of people, it's not unusual. It's what they expect, and you have to be able to deliver what people want to hear using your tools and your ears.